guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This follows our main character, Nyx, and her entire life she has known that she is going to be married off to an evil lord that kind of rules over their entire world. Her dad, before she was even born, bargained her away to this man, so she knows that she's going to go to his manor and marry him. But she's also been preparing her entire life to possibly kill him. She's been trained by this magical order to potentially kill him and hopefully save the entire world. But it's obviously a little more complicated than that. So this book has intrigued me for a very long time. I have heard that it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and there are elements of that. It also has a lot of kind of Hades and Persephone vibes to it, and I've always been very intrigued by it, but I've been very skeptical about it because this book has so many mixed reviews. And a lot of people really don't enjoy it. I'm not sure if that's because they went in with very high expectations, but a lot of people really don't like it, really hate it. So I kept getting told when I was going to read this book that you're definitely going to hate it. I think you're going to hate it. I think you're going to hate the main character. I think you're going to hate it. By a lot of different people. So I went into this book with very, very low expectations, and I don't know if that actually helped me with the book because I ended up feeling fairly positively about this book. That has its faults, but I ended up actually enjoying it for the most part, and I'll tell you why. So first, let me talk about the world building. The world building in here is actually really clunky. I think this might be one of the things a lot of people kind of get hung up on and that don't enjoy, and I agree with that. There are a lot of elements in here that are kind of all thrown together, which in theory are awesome. A lot of things are thrown together, like there's like a lot of Greek mythology, there's a lot of folklore, there's Beauty and the Beast elements, there's Hades and Persephone elements, and it's kind of all thrown together, but none of them really get fleshed out. And it's hard to kind of understand some of that stuff. So it's not a matter of getting really confused, it's just that some of these things aren't really explained, and it would be nice to have those elaborated. So I liked those elements, but I think that the execution kind of failed with that. So there's a magic system that we don't really get any kind of explanation for. There's different kind of political maneuverings that we don't really get explanation for. We're just kind of thrown in and expected to just kind of go with it. So if you're okay with that in a story, you probably won't have too much of a problem with this. But if you like your worlds to be really explained and really fleshed out, in this particular book, it's not. I know that her other books are companion series to this, so they're in the same world from my understanding, so I'm not sure if the world gets more fleshed out as books go on, which I'm interested to see. I think I'm going to continue reading books in this companion series because I did like this book, and I think if there were some other elements that were fleshed out, I could like the other books even more, but we'll see. I don't know if it gets better or not. But in this book, it is kind of clunky. The execution kind of fails. It was really good in theory, but a lot of things kind of fall apart. Next, let me talk about our characters. I didn't feel either way, positive or negative, about our main character of Nyx. There were times that I really liked her. There were sometimes I was kind of blah about her. I'm not particularly attached to her. She's not going to make any of my worst lists, but she's not going to make any of my favorite lists either. She's just kind of there. I do like her a little bit because we do have this kind of exploration of the theme of, again, like I really enjoy in books, like what makes the villain, what makes the hero, humanity, morally grayness, you know, villainy, that kind of thing. It's all kind of explored in here. So none of our main characters are either good or evil, really. They all have a little bit of evil in them, all have a little bit of good in them, stuff like that. So I really enjoy that kind of thing in my characters. If you prefer things a little bit more clean cut, you might not like that as much. And like I said, there are parts of this book that are just a little bit muddled. They don't kind of fail in their execution. So I think the characters at some points are like that a little bit. You know, we don't get very clear cut character personalities at times, but it didn't really bother me. It still was something that I enjoyed reading. I did enjoy the villain. I thought he was really interesting. I just like those kinds of characters. The two main characters have a bit of a like snarky back and forth a lot, so I really enjoy that. There is some elements of kind of insta-love to this. Again, I wouldn't necessarily call it insta-love, but there is that kind of element to it. With Beauty and the Beast retellings and Hades and Persephone retellings, I forgive that a little bit more than I would in other books. I know going into those books that I want the two main characters to be together, so I'm kind of okay with that little insta-love element. I obviously prefer the long drawn-out thing, especially for Beauty and the Beast or Hades and Persephone, because that feels more accurate. But if I'm going into those kinds of books, I'm more okay with the more instant thing because I know it's inevitable. I don't have to guess at all. There's no guesswork. I know if it gets drawn out, they're going to end up together anyway, so that's not something that I'm particularly a stickler about with these kinds of books, but if you're really sensitive to like sort of insta-lovey type things, you might not enjoy this. Lastly, the plot. The plot I thought was extremely fast-paced. I really enjoyed the plot. It was very fast-paced. I was constantly guessing. There were some things that I guessed about it and some things that I didn't. I didn't really know how it was going to end up. So while different things about the world building were a little weak, I thought that the plot elements that pulled some of that world building in were really strong because it does kind of take from mythology and folklore and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that kind of like folktale-y element, and that kind of, there's a kind of puzzle to it that I really enjoyed. So I like the plot, and this was a book that I read extremely quickly. I read it in I think about a day. So it was a book that I read very quick, and it's not particularly super short, so it's a book that you can really get through very quickly, whether you like it or hate it, honestly. So I ended up enjoying Cruel Beauty for what it is. It's not my favorite retelling by any means, but I like what it was trying to do. I like some of the themes that it explored. It just failed in its execution in a lot of ways. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So comment down below and let me know what you thought of Cruel Beauty. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions. When I posted on Goodreads, I got a lot of people saying that they hated it, and a lot of people said that they loved it. So it's either one or the other. There's really not a lot of in between, like me, ironically enough. So comment down below and let me know what you thought. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!